We are live. Happy Monday.
Yeah. What up?
Hey, man. How you doing?
All right. We are building the plane in midair. This is, what do we say?
Monday morning maintenance right now.
And it really and truly is. Oh, look at that. This
Okay,
is
a
like
restart
meta.
came up automatically.
Yes. So we're also dabbling in the live chat realm.
Yeah. I think the goal of Monday is now becoming like every week we want something to be improved incrementally in the way that we approach like the podcast for our clients, right? Like that's good. And then we get to kick the tires on like what's going on with us.
Yes,
like
absolutely. And we are hammering out the dents in real time. In
absolutely.
public.
Absolutely.
So the topic du jour was we're trying to dial in. So actually, we could lay out the framework of what actually happens behind the scenes.
Like on our back end?
Yeah. So for example, you and I came in, we had parallel and convergent evolution where we both did the same thing. We shot the stuff, we made the stuff, we went to the places, all of that. Then Vietnam and the Pac Rim. So Vietnam is where the photos and videos are edited.
Mm-hmm.
The Philippines is where the virtual assistants live. And then you had Rebecca here.
Here local, yeah. Local resource.
And so like describe your process. So like here's where we're putting the chocolate and the peanut butter together, which has been the most interesting thing.
Yeah. So let's see. Rebecca's been with me for maybe 4 years now.
Oh,
I
right
don't know, a
on.
long
So,
time.
okay,
She's
so
great.
y'all are-
Like yeah.
y'all are
So knows
dialed
like
in.
the ins and outs of myself. Can speak for me, which is incredibly valuable when I'm nose down in the business most of the time. But so she. Basically, we assigned her like there's a lot of things that have to happen in the morning. And so she has very specific tasks to get photos delivered, confirm appointments for the next day. And we have some very structured tasks that have to happen like all the time, just rinse and repeat every day. But then in the afternoon, like we have this whole period of time where she needs to, phone's ringing, where she needs to like answer calls, handle all the off-the-wall questions that happen. My photos look great.
Miscellaneous.
But the miscellaneous stuff.
The Wi-Fi doesn't like your website.
Right. And so we also have, through studioUSA, we've got a collection of virtual assistants that help us with the whole assortment of things.
It's the cobbler's elves.
Yes. So now the task that we have in front of us is how do we connect those two people in a way where we're kind of seamlessly rolling tasks over to like our follow the sun model, where basically Rebecca goes to sleep and our VAs wake up and they pick up the tasks that she left on the plate, and vice versa, right? When they go to bed, Rebecca wakes up, and we because this business does run 24 hours a day. There's somebody working at studioUSA all the time.
Always.
And that's a feature, not a bug. I mean, we have to do that in order to deliver content and meet the SLAs that our clients expect.
And in today's world, real estate has always been, I need it yesterday. And there's always that sense of urgency anytime you're in a situation where you eat what you kill. So it's it's a baked in issue as far as the urgency. However, like you and I both realized early on, when you're the only guy, when you're doing all the stuff, you're shooting the stuff, you're getting it to the editor, you're making sure the editor gets it back to you, you're delivering the stuff, you're troubleshooting, you're collecting the money, and you're marketing. And you're scheduling.
Yes, you have to get more clients.
It is just brutal, and there's never any time to be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to take a knee right now and figure this out.
Oh, yeah, let me pause and fix this little problem that I got.
Yeah, and that never happens. So, we use the analogy of building the plane in midair, and it absolutely is that. It's like if you're lucky enough to taxi down the runway and get off the ground, it's like, oh, shit, we're in the air.
Yeah, well, nobody lets you take a break and be like, hey, just go ahead and land this thing and like tweak all that stuff and then take off here in like a week or two.
Yes,
see how you're looking.
And everything magically appears by noon the next day or whatever the time frame is. Like, okay, in the summer you do a twilight shoot and it's 9:45 before you're on your way home. So you're uploading to halfway around the world at 11 p.m. And then everything is supposed to magically appear in less than 12 hours. And it's like, okay, that would be difficult under the best of all possible circumstances.
And we do this sometimes 10, 15 times a day, right?
Yes.
Like on for.
So then there comes the time whenever you're scaling up. And so I had the thing where, okay, so Cruz comes in with me like 4 years ago. And we were lucky in that we had several institutional flippers that were essentially his time at the gym, just getting in the reps. And that allowed me to build what ramshackle system that I had, which then, you were doing the same thing. And then I was envious that you had somebody local, and I was like, oh man, I wish we could have dialed that in. And
well, that was just luck. I felt Nikki Watson. Thank you, Nikki, for giving me Rebecca.
Also, thank you, Nikki, for Cruz.
So Nikki got both.
Yeah,
Is Cruz?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
Cruz's family is Nikki's basically her staging installers.
Okay.
And so Cruz was like their, gopher. And it's like, hey, we forgot the coffee table for 123 Main Street. Put it in the thing and take it.
Okay.
And so that's how he came into my little universe, and then he just never left. And thankfully, he was a quick study. And he's like super, as you've seen now, he is super self-motivated.
Oh my God, have you seen the editorial shots that he did? He did a reshoot for me just to do like a Zillow 3D home. And he's like, I took some extra shots. They are incredible. Like, I mean, the interior design feel like not.
I always say it's like those are the sexy shots.
Super sexy.
Super sexy.
They have magazine type shots.
Yeah. And it would be like where you're selling the product that's in the shot, you're not selling the house.
Yeah.
Because like folks always like, well, it's just photos, and it's like, no, there's a different, and not to get like artsy fartsy or whatever, but there's a different purpose for different types of content.
Yeah, you're intentional with all the shots you take, right? It's not stand in a room and shoot wide,
which is
what the approach from some of our
which will get your foot in the door.
Yeah. Well,
however,
you can do 1 or 2 shoots that way.
If you're a one-trick pony, that pony goes hungry a lot. And that's where we added stuff along the way. But even like right now, so virtual assistant Kareen, who is she works from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and extends until 11 until Trang, who's in Vietnam, finishes. Don't worry, I'm only putting in 2 hours in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, a total of 4 daily, then 5 to 7.
Okay.
And so like there, that gives us, so before we went on the air, we were discussing how to integrate more, where we're like kind of like the Brady Bunch. And the two sort of like family units were same but different and separate but equal. But now it's like, okay, well, Rebecca having small kids and having a life that demands attention, sometimes just out of left field.
Yeah. Well, the goal is that she has 2 young kids, and like we set up this her job to be flexible throughout the day, right?
Yes.
It's like, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store at noon, but like these things are on my plate. If the phone rings, I can take it.
Yeah.
But my tasks aren't incredibly time sensitive to where I've got some flex, and that works, right? She's happy. I'm happy.
Right. Yes.
And that happy employees, man, there's something to say about that.
Absolutely. Well, and then Cruz would be the other, perfect example of not only was he happy, but then, I give him the just the bandwidth to be like, I don't know, dude, just make something up.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I never scared him off to where he was able to, by osmosis, kind of what you said about Rebecca. She thinks like you do. So Cruz now solves problems in the same way with the same method that I would. And like he asked me today, so like one of my close, like almost family level clients texted him and said like, hey, I've got a shoot. And I'm like, oh yeah, she mentioned something about that like last Thursday or whatever. And then he goes, well, is it cool if she asked about 2. Is it cool if I just text her back and say I can do both of them tomorrow? I'm like, absolutely. And so like there, it's being able to color outside the lines and pivot, but also make sure that the bulldog gets fed, and bam. And then all of a sudden, that's a thing that, it would have been a thing before where I would have been in a mad scramble to try to, oh shit, that's right. She told me last Wednesday that there was a thing. Now I got to shoehorn that into my world. And that is just exhausting.
Yeah. Exhausting because it's constant like that.
Yes,
it's
it
not,
never
It's
stops.
not like it's a one-off and like, oh, let me do this one
and then I'll never have to do it again.
once. Yeah,
that would be like thinking you were going to eat once and never have to eat again. I'll never be hungry again.
I'll never be hungry again. Yeah. So so that, I think probably some sort of like shared living, breathing document to start, just be really rudimentary in the beginning to basically show what's on the docket for today as we hand off things. So like when Kareen's done at the photo upload, she does a really great job basically telling everybody on the team, like, here's all the outstanding items, here's what's been done, here's what's outstanding for just the photo upload side. And maybe that's enough. We definitely need Rebecca at the end of the day to be able to hand off like, hey, this didn't get booked, or so-and-so didn't call back. Usually it's like we're waiting on something. Like we put the ball in their court and we're waiting on them to confirm with the sellers on a reschedule time or something like that, right? And it just hadn't gotten back to Rebecca yet.
Some level of follow-up.
Yes, for that, and then the weekends too, because Rebecca's not a weekend worker.
Right.
So that used to be my job. Like I'd wake up on Saturday morning and do Rebecca's work. Right. We'd upload photos. I'd confirm appointments. I'd do all that stuff. But yeah, I think that's probably the starting point to get that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like you said, some sort of Google Doc or some sort of interactive list or scheduler that can, and then I think we should probably too maybe, the old explain it to me like I'm 5. As far as like, okay, here's what is needing to be done between, I don't know, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. And then at 11 a.m. Rebecca comes on, if Rebecca is live from, I don't know, 11 to 5 or whatever. And then if Kareen comes back at 5 to 7, well, then that allows, and then everything just goes to voicemail after 7 or whatever, or email.
Yeah.
Because all the kids are doing their thing. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm fine with answering like after hours, non-emergency calls the following morning. Like I think that's fair and healthy for everybody. Because you have people texting you at 11 o'clock at night. I have people texting me at 11 o'clock at night. I probably should let those go. Most of the time I'm
see, now I'm out. So like I'm
guilty of responding.
My melatonin substitute precludes me from.
Oh, so you're out.
Oh,
like
yeah, I'm out. Yeah, like I'm Elvis out.
See, I look at it and then I have to make a decision. Like, is it a healthy thing to respond?
Right.
Do I want to like continue to foster that behavior by responding?
Well, and that's a tough one too, because you get into a place where like, dude, the longtime clients, they're like friends and like family.
Almost all my clients are friends. Like almost everybody I work with, like we are friends. Like we can
and
go
you
have
get
drinks.
to know their personalities and everything. And it's like, okay, if this is wrapping her around the axle at 11 p.m. or whatever, she's freaked out. And it's usually not about. It's like the old therapeutic line about like if they're bitching about taking out the trash, it's not about taking.
It's not about the trash. Yeah.
And it's usually like, okay, if they freaked out about this, there's so many. That's the other thing that a lot of folks don't understand is there are so many moving parts in selling houses. And doing all of the things that are required to keep a seller who usually doesn't know their ass from third base as far as the actual process or the transaction. They're just emotionally invested and freaked out.
Yeah.
So a good realtor is like therapist, taxi driver, marriage counselor, financial advisor, interior decorator, design aesthetic person or whatever. And that bleeds over into everything. And so all of a sudden the seller is offloading all this emotional baggage or whatever. Oh, and then throw in like, oh, by the way, it's a contended divorce. It's contentious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay!
Yeah. It's not a happy situation.
And so when you know that, you can't just let them hang until tomorrow morning, because then our job by osmosis and by association is the junior partner of all those different levels. And then of course too, one of the things that we're doing now that we're rolling out with Corey is that broker open package that we did with Deanne at the ginormous house in Addison. That was so cool. Partly because, okay, the whole team were like a horde of locusts, just and we'd already had, so like we went on that Saturday, shot everything, and had the framework, and then Corey was able to come out and direct traffic the day of, which then exponentially just it was like the Jiffy Pop thing where the popcorn, the content just starts overflowing. Well, now we're coming at it where Corey actually scheduled it, and so now we have the intentionality behind like, okay, we're going in, and Corey, I think, has over 200 people in his ecosystem of video coaching. So now, whenever Cruz and I are there later today, we are going to shoot with the intention of having assets and everything for all of those people to promote that listing.
Yeah.
So it is like this ridiculous force multiplier. But that's a thing where we are bringing something in that has, to my knowledge, never been done, because usually most people aren't that collaborative.
So for anybody that's just tuning in, has never been to one of our broker opens, when our clients have a property that's luxury and what, 5 million plus, 3 to 5 million plus,
or even just a property of note. So like the one that we're looking at out in Heath it's just got massive acreage, and it's a killer house, but it's more about the lifestyle than it is just like an 11,000 square foot behemoth.
So something different, but like in either eclectic or weird or in the luxury space.
Yes, absolutely. It's 2 million.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we invite brokers and agents from from all over, and we shoot promo content for free. What that allows them to do is gives everybody that comes in a piece of content to share with their audience. So not just the seller's agent, doing their dog and pony show videos, but we're actually equipping their team and the team of other brokerages to go out and bring a buyer.
It's buy-side content.
Buy-side content, yeah.
That actually helps the listing agent more than just, it'll promulgate to MLS and everybody else's IDX feed or whatever. Because today's, who cares? Because unless you have somebody looking specifically for that, or it's on a hot sheet that they sent, like all of those things still matter. Yeah, exactly. Like throwback, all of those things still matter in the macro, but they're not really moving the needle like they used to. And then you were there with me last week, when Justin Landon was doing the MLS meeting, and the average buyer and seller are in their 60s.
Yeah, right now, 62
and it's
years old.
For today's world, that's Facebook.
For sure, 100%.
You'll have your outliers like the Courtney Bensons or whatever, or like Lacey that are.
I don't think Courtney Benson's in her 60s.
No, the outliers that are just TikTok rock stars. Where like they're doing stuff that the cool kids like. But they're the outlier. They're the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah. Certainly.
Whereas the vast majority are going to be on the Facebooks and LinkedIn's of the world, where it's a little less, like jump cut, quickie edit, and it's a little bit more of the storytelling or the conveying the message of value versus, hey, look at this, and so there's something to be said for both of them. But I love what we're doing now, and the fact that we can kind of systematize it. That was the key at scaling anything. Even kind of going back to like now, where we're trying to figure out, okay, real actual human in DFW and virtual assistants in the Philippines. How can we make them work with each other instead of at the same time, kind of in parallel?
Yeah. It comes down to process at the leadership level that we haven't really implemented, because both of us are stuck in our ways, and we have our own process and the ways that we trust, and like tried and true, ain't broke, don't fix it type of attitude.
Or I just don't want to look. You know how it is. You get conditioned where like if it's not actively on fire, it doesn't need my attention.
Well, a lot of times we like at the level we're operating, we don't necessarily always see all of the nitty gritty in the day to day, and like things get fixed all the time that I don't know about. And I got a dose of that on Friday. I was going out. We had a family thing out at my mom's house, and on my way out there, I got 4 inbound calls. This is like at like 9 or 10 a.m. I got 4 inbound calls, or maybe it was 5, like on my drive out, of like action items and things to do. And I was like, okay. And then as I'm sitting there trying to get all Rebecca's work done, because Rebecca was on vacation, more things just started coming in. And I'm like, okay, this is like, these are things that would be fixed without me ever knowing.
Yeah, you would need, you would
like
even hit
move this
awareness.
here, shift this here. Where's my photos? Download this stuff. Can I get a new version? Things that just happen and you just forget. I mean, I guess maybe it's a good thing every once in a while to have one of the people that you rely on to step away for a second, to just like be like, hey, this is all the stuff I do.
The takeaway is Rebecca can't go on vacation.
The takeaway is we have to figure out a process for handling inbound customer relationship stuff.
Now we get into like the tactical, which I love, because it is the idea of like, okay, so we're using dial pad, which is great idea.
Great in theory.
Yeah, great in theory. Somewhat of a monumental pain in the ass in practical application, as far as, and I get it, there's like all the spam rules, whatever, opt in, opt out, this, that, and the other, the verbiage, the language, or whatever, but it's like, holy hell. Been down the rabbit hole with these guys, and I'll have to do it again later today, to jump through the hoops, so they authorize text messages.
Yeah, so we can't, if you're texting inbound to us and you get
on
a weird
website
text
phone number.
Yeah, on the website phone number, and you get an outbound text back to you from like a weird phone number, usually identifying myself, that's because our outbound text
Uncle Sam doesn't let us text out yet.
Yeah, well, they think they want to verify that we're not spamming you guys, so they're requiring us to provide a lot of information on the type of text we send, the fact that we do provide opt-outs or
just a bunch of jibber
just a bunch of the technical stuff.
And it's like they never seem to be able to have difficulty reaching me to get a political donation. It's like, wow, somehow that made it through.
Yeah. But this is not. Yeah, I get a dozen spam things a week.
Oh, yeah.
With
Yeah.
donate to my
Red alert,
campaign.
red
Yeah, no
alert.
problem.
Yeah.
That gets right through.
It's
But
all
I
over
can't.
if we don't do this.
What's weird is that the way we communicate, we don't use it for any outbound marketing at all.
No.
We are almost all our text messaging is almost in response to the way. So we're just giving you a way to communicate that you want to.
Yes.
Like we have phone, text, and email.
Yes.
You're more than welcome to reach us on any of those, and we're responding in the medium that you reach out to us.
Yeah, and
it's
if there's a way for
problem.
us to yes, plug in, the team in the Philippines, because English is like 1B in their
they're
language.
all very good.
So we're going to try to do that just for the simple fact of the continuity.
Yeah, or if we just run chat, right, from the Philippines, where we just say, like,
Yeah.
inbound call comes in, like, chat comes straight out saying, like, hi, I'm so-and-so, how can I help you?
Think about that.
Yeah, we can just run it through chat. And just say that
I wonder if
when the text messaging is back up and running, that would be the method that most people, most of our agents prefer text, and there's a thread of history there where we can look back and be like, what time did we say that?
Yes.
There's value.
All
to
of
having
those
it
things, 100%.
documented.
Okay, so that goes on the list.
On the docket.
So now, are you thinking like a chatbot on the website, or?
Well, no, I was thinking that it would go through chat, like our text message chat back out once we get text
Okay.
messaging
Gotcha.
working. Where the VAs wouldn't have to pick up the phone and call somebody and solve
They would
the problem.
return a call
We would
with a
return the call
text.
with a text, and we just say
Yes.
like, hey, because it's at that point it's after hours, right? And
Yeah.
if we have an emergency, we can address it right then. If not, we can, we'll have some standard operating procedures on when
so
we hunt.
that's action item number 1.
Yeah.
Because now, like you said, and just to pull the curtain back, because we did have everything kind of baked in separately, I wasn't in the loop on what Rebecca was doing every day, and not as a negative, but you'd be like, oh yeah, and I'm like, oh okay, I don't know,
Yeah.
And she would only reach out to me if you weren't available, or if it was like somebody that they were asking to ask me, or
Ask Rick specifically,
or
yeah.
Rick said this,
Rick said, oh no.
yeah, that's like, oh shit. But I had no idea like what her day actually looked like, because I've been trying to slowly get away from where I'm included on every email, every thread, every text, because one, the bandwidth isn't there for the human to do that consistently, and two, there were so many things that I didn't see, yet my name was on it, and that gives the false impression that like,
That you did see it,
yeah,
yeah.
that he's scrutinizing everything that is going on, and it's exactly what you said. There's so many things happening and so much is moving that there's no way. And even if I looked at everything, because like think about it, if you looked at everything that came across your screen in a day, how much would you retain even if you technically saw everything? It's just categorically impossible.
I think there's also there's a sense of a need to give your team the reps to
Yes.
solve that problem.
Autonomy.
So every once in a while,
Delegate.
like I'll look at we use WhatsApp, we use Facebook Messenger, we use a lot of like normal
all-
tools,
all of the
all
above.
over the place.
Yes.
But like I'll look at the WhatsApp and there'll be like 19 new messages, and I'll look at go through the thread and I'll be like, let's see how they solve this.
Yes, I love it.
right?
Well, and autonomy leads to like cool shit like these under lights here where Austin, and look at all the mood lighting. We got the red, white, and blue going.
Yeah, so we want to improve everything Monday. So we did the lighting last week, right, which has been great. And this week we're doing live chat. So Austin's got set up live chat that aggregates all of how many platforms are we going out to? Like 14, 12, 10?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, some. So it's actually going to take all of that from like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and stuff and aggregate it so we can see all the chats.
Yes,
in
and so we get to be
one-
our own guinea pigs as far as just being able to figure this stuff out,
Yeah.
because we've got clients that actually do have
the people that are watching our clients.
Yeah, for the ones that actually do watch our clients. And even like this morning, Teresa emails me and says, "Hey, can we? You guys figured out how to do thumbnails on the YouTube Shorts?" And it was like, "Yes, as a matter of fact, we did." and part of the experiment now was, we did a handful that were like, okay, just surface level. I'm like, whatever. But you experiment just to see what works. But there, I just let the VAs just kind of get artsy fartsy with it and see like, okay, see what works, see what doesn't, and then we're going to dial that in with the KW Go marketing, because those VAs also happen to have access to that basically the brand kit. And so it was like, okay, so we're going to make the thumbnails, but with the brand kit. So that's a whole nother layer of value add. And then I'll just have them experiment on making thumbnails with our stuff because who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Whatever. Yeah. And it's like, make crazy ass, over the top clickbait thumbnails or whatever and see what happens.
Now, do we make those, I know the importance of it for like long form YouTube stuff, right? Because you want that, the clickbait stuff. Are shorts, are we still like, I feel like with my shorts, I'm caught in like a doom scroll when I'm in YouTube shorts.
Oh,
so like the thumbnail matters less, but I see, maybe there's other people that use that.
It depends on, so like at home, I never look at YouTube on my phone. I only see it on a browser or on the TV.
When you go to YouTube, what are you searching something specifically knowing you're going to go to YouTube? Are you trying to find an answer?
No. So my whole, I have this weird thing where I'll have 4 different browsers and it's like I have 4 different personalities. So there's my YouTube that is my YouTube Premium for my house that has like one of my favorite channels is Dad Rock, which is 80s metal guitar transcriptions. But it's to the actual song. And so it's like if 15-year-old me could time travel ahead and be like, hey, here's AC/DC, Have a Drink on Me from Back in Black with the actual audio and the guitar broken down. So more often than not, on any given night, I'm standing in my living room playing guitar up to a 70-inch TV with that scrolling by.
Great. Not Guitar Hero. You're actually on the...
Yeah, it's like my version of Guitar Hero. And then the other stuff I have on there is just my genre nerd stuff. So it's like the stuff that is actually keyed to my, personal Gmail that's my sync trap for spam or whatever. It's just genre nerd stuff, the music stuff, and the YouTube music whenever I don't really do that. But I let Apple do the music. Then I have another browser that doesn't log in, that just basically aggregates the cookies from the different searches or whatever. And there I kind of let the algorithm drive. And then that's where I get all the weird shit. And so like I said, oh yeah, dude, like there's all these, I'm fascinated by propaganda, and I'm also fascinated by the man on the street from the standpoint of somebody out just the way that the internet and YouTube and technology has democratized the ability to document is, it's a game changer for humanity that I don't think we've even been able to process yet.
The fact that there's 5 cameras every 10 square feet that can capture
and the fact that you have people that in little pockets of here and there. So like there's one German guy who used to have a t-shirt thing on Venice Beach or whatever, but he's been documenting the whole California thing over the last 6 or 8 years, and just from the standpoint of seeing that continuity, it's like you get a feeling for like what's really happening.
Versus, as long as you diversify your feed to get different looks.
Like I only want people that they're just there with the camera. They're not saying like this is what it used to be, this is what it is now. And it's like, well, there's not really a blank to fill in. It is. And then the other thing I like is, what is the propaganda machine trying to feed? Because then you get to look, and then the login here on the premium is just business stuff. Because you always come in and I got like Rory Sutherland.
It's usually like hustle porn on, or like a business leadership, that sort of thing.
100%.
Yeah, Simon Sinek type stuff. See, I'm embarrassed because we bought one of those. I might have mentioned on a couple weeks ago on the podcast, but a frame TV.
Yes,
the one that looks the art TV. And it's great, but it's made by Google, and like the back end is all Google.
Oh, like the touchscreen.
And so so when you go to you open up the smart thing, it gives you like recommended stuff.
Yes.
And it gives me like recommended YouTube. Well, my YouTube, I use YouTube like a search engine.
Yeah.
So like the recommendations for it is like everything from like how to change a radiator on a Ford 2500 to like backyard pool supply. Like
there's no continuity there.
Yeah, because usually I'm just using it for information.
Yeah.
I use it how most people use it. Like I Google it, and YouTube is owned by Google and is the largest search engine in the world, and is the way that I like to consume my content for answers. If somebody's going to give me a 2-minute video on how to change a widget, I'm watching instead of reading it.
Well, now I've actually moved to GPT as my search engine, because the talk to text, even though it sucks on just about every platform,
it's much better on GPT.
It's better on GPT, and it's at least the large language model is more intuitive. And I also use it as sort of
when you jack up the speech to text, it figures it out. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it's also, did you mean this?
It's like, I'm assuming you meant this.
Yes.
Are you drunk?
And then like GPT will recognize, scan, and basically take screenshots into account. And so I have this sort of weird kind of, I don't know, it's where I transfer my hustle porn coaching and thought process into an ongoing, I guess, like a coach, like a robot coach.
Yeah, robot
or whatever.
coach. Yeah, Kat uses that for like her. I'm sorry, I'm derailing it, but she uses the same thing, but she uses it for like her Spanish learning.
Oh yeah,
so
totally
like her language learning. So she'll like talk to it in Spanish and it'll correct her. It's like, hey, I'm gonna talk to you conversationally. I want you to respond just normally, but then also I want you to give me like some feedback on anything I may have missed, like conjugation.
Oh, dude, that's brilliant.
So yeah, so she talks and it responds and it's like, by the way, you use this word and you could have used this word and like. Either way, and just she learns so much in that.
Well, and it's so funny because like everybody is, at least in my opinion, a lot of it is they're either afraid of AI or they're using it as like some kind of gimmick that it's like, oh, if I make the robot perfect, I won't have to work.
I won't have to do any work.
Yeah, and it's like, that's
we're just searching for an easy button, right?
Yeah,
like all of us are searching for the easy button.
Speaking of the easy button, we are dialing up the mobile.
Oh yes, it looks. Last week we did. We put in, what do you call that?
The noise suppressor and gate.
Yes, gate.
Throwback to the old days of GC. So anybody out there knowing the DBX brand of compressor gate still works like a charm.
Giving us an opportunity to like cut some, to dial in the audio better without having to go into the software and fidget with it in different environments. So very cool. Always like I said, we're just making little improvements like every single week.
And it's ready to roll out July 1st. And I'm so stoked for that, dude.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I think we opened the kimono today.
Yeah, we did a little bit. Tomorrow, or I won't be here Friday because you're doing Wayne, right? So next Monday.
No, you can come in. I think. Let me double check. I think I might be inviting you right now.
Okay. Well, I might be here for Fired Up Friday.
I want to say Wayne has canceled. Yes.
Okay.
Wayne is out of town.
Cool.
So we'll be back Friday.
I think I'll come here Fired Up Friday, and we'll see if we implement any of the stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We'll hold ourselves to it.
Take
care.
Brother. Have a good one.
Yeah.